You are not helpless.
Oh, hi. How you doing? I'm just hanging out with Jason Molina and a cup of coffee and my Hello Kitty hat. Not really my hat. You believe me? Hope you believe me. Good to see you. I thought I would record yet again a little bit of what I'd like for you to do for Thursday, and also I have a supplemental for you to follow along to help you understand some of the key things that I'm seeing that, and Terrence also is seeing in your writing. So if you'll head to the supplemental, I want to briefly review Bloom's taxonomy, which goes through those different levels of thinking. The bottom level is knowledge. Either you know it or you don't. And it goes all the way, if you climb the ladder, to evaluation, which is being able to judge the worth of something. So the quiz that you took earlier this semester is largely a knowledge and comprehension level quiz. For instance, for the AP style book items, either you know that you were supposed to look for the time and how the time was written in that quiz, or you didn't, because you either didn't have the list with you or you didn't remember that it was on the list. So that's just basic knowledge. Comprehension asks you to be able to then, if you know that time is one of those things that you need to know how to type properly, that's knowledge, that you go into the AP style book and you look up time, and you are then able to comprehend or understand how to type it correctly. That's comprehension. Our goal, the goal for Terrence and me is that you know and understand all of those things on the AP style book list, along with other writing conventions that we talk about, along with leads, along with angles, and then you, if you look at the next level of Bloom's taxonomy, can you apply them? And to help you apply those well, you need to be able to continue to climb up the ladder, that you can analyze good leads versus not good leads, and then eventually that you can and see patterns in all these different writing issues that we're talking about, and then evaluation at the top, that you're able to see what's good or maybe not so good about the writing, and that you, of course, can evaluate your own writing. And that happens in the second and third stages of the 4 stages of writing, where you revise and edit based on your knowledge and understanding and application of all the writing issues. So that's where we're trying to get you. We're noticing that some people are still struggling with just the basic knowledge part of things, that you don't even know that you're supposed to check for how to write numbers at the start of a sentence, for example. So there's no way you can apply these things. There's no way you can reach stage 3 or higher if you can't even get to the stage 1. So Wednesday we're going to have another quiz where we're hoping that you can do better on these items. All right. So if you look at the supplemental, the second thing I want you to do is to review your. The first thing I'd like for you to do is to review your AP style book sections. So that's all the things that you all presented over the last few weeks. You don't need to memorize. We don't expect you to memorize how to write time. What we do expect you to realize when you are going to write time, or you see it written, is that that's one of the things that we care about. So you're allowed to use the list of those topics on the quiz. So we don't expect you to even memorize that list. Just have it, in a notebook that you can open up to and say, okay, here's the list. So please pay attention to that. And also, if you look at under letter A, that you understand pronoun antecedent agreement. Here's what I promise you're going to see on the quiz. You're going to see the word Miami University, and the word Miami, and the word university, all throughout. And you're going to see it referenced as a they instead of an it. Miami is a singular subject. Miami is a school in Southwest Ohio. Singular verb, so it's a singular subject, and so it gets referenced as an it. Miami lost its football game, again, ridiculously, last weekend. Have you seen that play? Oh, goodness gracious. Terrence, what are we going to do about that coach? Aren't you on the board of directors, board of trustees? Come on, Terrence. We need to have a little conversation about that. So those are the tricky pronoun antecedent agreement issues, or when you have a sentence that says a student should study for their test. That's incorrect. A student is singular, so it needs to be his or her. But remember, to make it better, we change the singular subject, a student, to plural. Students should study for their tests. That's a more natural way of writing and speaking. That's how we talk. And it absolves you from having pronoun antecedent issues. So that's going to be a part of this quiz. If you don't understand that, I gave you a link to the Purdue University OWL resource, which should clarify it. And if you still don't understand it, I think I'm on your writing teams, all of you. And so is Terrence. So you call up a member of your writing team and say, yo, still not getting this, and we'll work with you. The second thing is subject-verb agreement, which most of you do very well. The problem is when you have a prepositional phrase in between the subject and the verb. So you'll have a singular subject, but then you'll have a plural verb because in that prepositional phrase, it ends with a plural word that's snuggled right next to the verb, and so it looks like it should be a plural verb, but it shouldn't. So please review that also on OWL. There are some other things with or phrases, either the boy or his classmates, and then do you use a singular or a plural verb? It's whatever verb is closest it's whatever word is closest to the verb. So if I said either the boy or his classmates, then you would use the plural verb, are going to struggle on the quiz. Letter C under Roman numeral 2 is the number one rule in writing, which is show, don't tell. And the biggest telling verb is the to be verb. I am, you are, he, she is, they are. It kills good writing. And so I gave you a list of gave you a list of tell versus show sentences, and I have another group of sentences below. But look at how. But before we get to that, also underneath C is the worst construction you can do in a sentence, which is there is, there are, there were. When you start sentences like that, you are giving too much power to that phrase. There is, there are. You're making that the focal point of the sentence instead of really what you want to make, what you want people to focus on, which is the action. So look at those bulleted items and how I go from a really awful sentence, one of the worst sentences you could write, to a much more effective sentence, and I do it in steps. So the first one is there were many people at the game. That's a telling sentence. And what does many mean? 5, 500, 5,000, 50,000? Many to you might be something completely different to someone else. The next sentence gets a little better. Many people were at the game. Well, now we've got people in the lead of the sentence, so that's good, instead of there were. But you still have that to be verb. So you still are struggling to make this a powerful sentence. The next is better. Many people packed the stands. Now we're getting somewhere. We've got that strong verb. But you're never quite finished. Most writers will tell you that they never really are truly finished with anything they write. They just run out of time. So if you have the time, you look at that fourth bulleted item, many people stuffed the stands. Now we've got that alliteration with the S, repeated S sound, stuffed and stands, ST sound, and that's much better. It still is a struggle because that sentence, because you still have this many word, and many, as I said, could mean lots of different things. So what's better are details. And so now if you look at the tell and the show sentences, the first one, there were many fans at the hockey game. So again, there's that really bad sentence. And then look to the right, more than 5,000 fans stuffed the stands at the sold-out hockey game. That's a great sentence. You're giving us a specific number. Give those specifics, those details when you can, colors and numbers. They allow us to see and understand. The second tell sentence, Sally was annoyed at her instructor, there's that to be verb again. Versus, if you look to the right, Sally rolled her eyes and sighed. Look at those verbs, rolled her eyes, rolled, and sighed, as her instructor discussed the homework assignment. You want to do even better? Try to find 3 action verbs and put those in a sentence. So what could you do? What verb could you do to show that Sally was annoyed at her instructor, who's probably wearing a Hello Kitty hat and a Bengals. Got my little Bengals on. They actually won. Um, at her instructor. So think of that and see if you can do what's called a trilogy of verbs. And number 3 is a powerful number in religion, in literature. And so when you get that third verb in there, when you can, you will have a lyrical, rhythmic quality to your writing. The third one, Jane was excited when her friend asked her to go uptown. Was is a to be verb. The bells and whistles should go off in your brain. That's a telling sentence versus Jane smiled. How about smile? Um, Laughed, and then raced. So you could add a third verb if you want in there, to her closet to find an outfit when her friend asked her to go uptown. So that's how you change bad writing to good writing. The verb is everything. It really makes a huge difference when you find good verbs. Here's a great tool for you. When you finish writing, go to your search in document thing, which is usually up in the upper right hand corner, and just type the word is, and then hit search and see how many times the word is pops up in your writing. Then type the word are, then type the word were, then type the word was. And if it lights up like a Christmas tree, then you've got some problems. I'm not saying you can't use the to be verb at some point. Some points you just can't avoid it, and sometimes it's just better to use it. But when you're seeing it too much, when you see it, ask yourself, is there a better way to write it? You will see your writing. That's the best lesson I can give you in writing. Your writing will be transformed if you realize that the verb matters more than anything. Number 3 on your list is to help you for this quiz. I've given you the list of things and stuff right here. Some of you, I don't think, have this list still. So here it is. These are the 6 things so far that we have on the list, and it's all written there for you. I'm not going to go through it, but you can expect that I'll ask you those things on the quiz. Again, you're allowed to use this if it's on your notebook paper, in your notes, so you might have to transcribe it, but if it's in notebook paper, you're allowed to use notebook paper notes on any quiz. Number 4 is to review the 4 stages of writing. I'm going to ask you about those stages. You should commit those stages to memory in what is expected from you. Your quiz, when I'm asking you to do, if you look at number 5, you should review quiz 1. It's going to look pretty similar to quiz 1. Please know that the AP, when I ask you to do AP style book fixes, that's the editing stage. It's not revising. I'm not asking you to totally rewrite or delete big items. The only time you will kind of rewrite things is if there's a dangly modifier in the story. But for the most part, you're just looking for editing fixes, commas, semicolons, apostrophes, those things that are on that AP style book list. You might have to fix paragraph structure because there might be paragraphs that are too big. That's part of the, that's number 5 on your list of things and stuff, but for the most part, that's just an editing thing. So some of you try to revise or rewrite whole passages of text. That's not what I'm asking you to do for that section. I also posted on about commas on the in announcements on Canvas. The commas are the biggest issue, and so please go through that post, especially when it comes to identifiers, when to use commas and when not to. Finally, number 7, there's going to be a post about Jason Molina, and who's a singer, and Dasani, who is the focus of a major story, I think about a 30,000 word story in the New York Times that talks about leads and angles. And as I've told you, as important as comma use is, you can always have an editor someday who will fix those for you, or a writing team of people who will fix those things for you. And if you can't get this idea down about leads and angles, that your angle is by far the most important thing, and then you have to find a way to sell it. That's in your headline and your eventually your picture and cut line, and then your lead. If you can't sell it, then nobody's buying, no matter how good your interviews are, no matter how good your punctuation and grammar might be. So leads and angles always, always, always win the day. All right. So that's what your quiz will be on, all of these things. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll also have a post in Canvas about the quiz for Wednesday. All right, that's all I got. Hope you had a good weekend, and I'll see you soon. Bye.